Hey guys, how's it going? It's Nick Robinson, Nick Smith, and we got our special guest today, Alejandro. Um,
Hey guys.
so Alejandro is a mortgage broker and an insurance broker that we've been working with for a long time. And to be honest, I don't work with him personally because I'm out shooting videos all the time. But Nick Smith works a lot with Alejandro, and I have met you obviously before. But so Nick, do you want to take away and just introduce what we're talking about today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought actually it'd be pretty helpful to do a couple of videos, couple of sessions on some two key components of things that are required either for visa purposes, well, for both for visa purposes really, and they are insurance and mortgages. And obviously insurance covers quite a lot of things. Mortgages is pretty specific, but yeah, we wanted to get Alejandro on here just to be able to go through some of the key components, of the insurance and then the mortgage stuff. So let Alejandro let you introduce yourself and the company, and then we can crack on.
All right, guys, thank you for having me and thank you for the invitation. My name is Alejandro. I have this Spanish name because I was born there. I'm a son of immigrants in Switzerland, half Spanish, half Portuguese, so I'm the real deal. I've been here for a long time. I came to Portugal when I was four, so I'm pretty much Portuguese. I love Portugal. Um, I do have a business. I have five agencies of mortgage and insurances brokers. It's 70 of us in our team, and at the moment, we we 80% of our clients are non-resident. So we love these clients and knowing people from everywhere, which is our main goal and our core business.
Cool. So, and we're going to tackle insurance first. Obviously, the insurance is quite a broad spectrum word for things. We've got quite a few. I suppose for quite a few key topics, but I suppose initially, Alejandro, what's the sort of insurance market like in Portugal? Who are the players? Brokers versus direct. How does it kind of work really?
So clients can go directly to insurance companies, of course, but mediadores seguros, which are insurance brokers, are the ones that hold the biggest market because we can shop around for the best deal and the price is pretty much the same. So what we do not charge a fee to the client. Okay, we get a commission from directly from the insurance company. And as an insurance broker, we shop around for the best deal in any kind of insurance. So life insurance, health, medical insurance, pet insurance, house insurance, you name it. The biggest players when it comes to insurance companies, I would say it would be Generali, which just bought Liberty Insurances and old Tranquilidad. Then you have MAF, Allianz, which is really big. So we work with all of them basically, and they do any kind of insurance. So our main goal when a client comes to us and tells us their needs is to go after the best quote and to for the quote to cover what the client really needs.
And do you
Okay.
have a preference for working with any company, or is it just depending on the product that they have?
Yeah, it's depending on the product, and of course we try to make it tailored to the client. So if the client says specifically, "I need this and that," and sometimes we know exactly where to find it, where we will go, and we'll tell the client straight forward that that's the best option.
Okay. So, I mean, I suppose the core types that we're sort of looking at, I suppose today are travel, car, life, health, house, and contents. Just as an addition to that, I mean, do you do and can you do bespoke stuff if someone's got something, completely abnormal that doesn't fit like those criteria? Is it something you do, or is that something you have to do directly?
Yeah, you can insure anything pretty much, as long as you ask for a quotation and the company is willing to assume the risk. We call it assuming the risk. So once to cover that risk, the simulators in the many insurance companies are ready to simulate the average insurances. When it's something really specific, we need to ask for a quotation for
Yeah.
the company. And depending on the client's profile and the kind of risk we are assuming, then the price changes, of course. But the feedback I receive from clients is that, for example, for medical insurance and life insurance, what clients usually pay in Portugal for what they get, it's really good compared to what usually they have back home. This is I would say 99% of the opinions I get from
Yeah.
overseas clients. Okay, so I would say we have advantages. We have
Okay.
advantages.
And then on not asking you to break down terms and conditions and all that kind of stuff, but how is the mortgage, sorry, how is the insurance scene, on actual activation of insurance when needed? I mean, come from the UK, and over there, like they try to get out of everything, and I'm assuming it's probably the same here. But what's your sort of experience on that? And is there just one set of rules, or is there, when any terms and conditions, you've got other companies underwriting it, you've got other rules as well. How complicated is it?
Well, all insurances, when trying to be activated, um, you need to activate the insurance, and then a specialist, a perito, so will do the valuation of the risk and the damage that was caused. If it's, let's give a specific example. If it's an home insurance, they will do a valuation to understand what kind of risk, what kind of damage was done, and by what was caused. And if it covers with the policy, then it's not a problem. Specifically because we're talking about insurance companies that cover, they're international pretty much.
Yeah.
So let's say Allianz, it's not a small insurance company, it's a really international big insurance company. So we usually don't have problems activating the policies, only when it's something that is not within the conditions of the policy, and we try to explain to the clients when we're issuing the policy that anything that is outside these conditions, of course, will be neglected and will be left outside when we try to activate the policy.
The reason why I suppose I bring that up is that this is not a slight on Portugal. It's just the way it is. It's just that, and even Portuguese people to say this to me is that they love to write, let's say, legalese in quite a, it leaves it open to massive interpretation. So I just, so that's what I suppose where that led is to see actually how easy it is. There are some insurances out there that are really, really easy. Others not. So anyway, look, we'll move on from that bit, and we'll start having a little look at, I suppose, the insurances. I think travel insurance is probably the most important one to start with, given that the majority of our clients are coming in under a visa scenario. So I mean, travel insurance, easy to get. How does it work?
It's easy to get. There are some, of course, to issue a policy, travel insurance policy, the client needs to already have the Portuguese fiscal number, so the NIF.
Okay,
Okay,
great point.
as long as they already have a NIF, which they can get even if they are overseas, they have many platforms that can get them a NIF at a distance, and an attorney can do that as well. As long as we have that, we can issue a travel insurance. There are some conditions, and there are some countries that will aggravate the premium, the price, but and some travel insurance will cover medical, others won't. So usually we try to understand what the client really needs and how much travel they will be doing, and then we try to tailor the insurance to their needs. But it's doable, and we do hundreds of them per annum.
Yeah, because it's a requirement of the visas, obviously, that they have to have travel insurance before they come over.
Exactly.
And those travel insurances have to adhere to Portuguese regulations, correct? Or can people use any travel insurance from their home country?
No, they have to match a specific regulation. This is pretty known, but basically they have to have to apply for certain visas. Let's say D7 is the ones you work the most, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need that insurance, and we can help the clients issue the insurance. And usually clients come to us when they are getting ready for the application. Okay, so and we've been working with you in these matters for some years now.
Yeah.
And we it's pretty much it's pretty straightforward, and it's not a
It's
uh,
it's interesting. It's an interesting one, just from my own mindset of if I was getting travel insurance, I'd be looking at home to cover me for going, you know. But I suppose what's interesting about the D7 is people are coming over in that initial, sort of 90-day window, I suppose, while they're waiting for their, their sort of IMA appointment and getting that piece settled as well. So it's maybe just perhaps a misconception of not looking to Portugal to get the insurance instead of going to something their side, but they can do it both, and it might help just from a segue perspective here, having the same discussion or a discussion at the same time about health insurance, because that's another key requirement, right, for the visa is getting health insurance.
yes. Um, so health insurance, of course, if they get it back home and it's international, usually clients ask a lot if they should. But I always advise if they already have an if and they get an health insurance, medical insurance in Portugal. First of all, it will cover it's international. We can get international medical health insurance, um, and the premium, the price usually per month is less than half. Okay, so especially clients from the US, for example, they get pretty shocked when we do the simulations, and they cannot believe the kind of conditions they get for what they're paying. So yeah, the medical and health insurance that covers a client and their entire family worldwide, and many times 100%, um, can be the price can be pretty competitive if they do it in Portugal.
Great.
And
And what
just so
about?
people
Oh,
know,
sorry.
sorry, Nick, sorry, just so people know that that's obviously a legal requirement as well for your first year or so while you're in Portugal, because nobody wants foreigners coming in to be a drain on the public system, correct?
Well, they when they get sold the idea of coming to Portugal, and when they buy the idea of coming to Portugal, they already know that the big slogan is free health system in Portugal. However, what they do not know is when they get to Portugal and they go to a public hospital, the hours of waiting for an appointment, or even at the urgency, they can be there for entire 24 hours and still be waiting. And of course, we know that the conditions at the public health service are getting worse as we go. Unfortunately, it's not. Even though I have an insurance business, I'm not happy to say this, because I believe that with the amount of health insurances that we are issuing, we can end up having private hospitals as full as the public hospitals because of that. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
um,
look,
in the
I'm
Algarve,
I'm a case in point. I've been here 13, coming up to 14 years. and I've always had private health here. One, because it's actually accessible and affordable. I didn't actually come here thinking, hey, I'm not going to go into to the public stuff and it's horrible. I just thought, you know what, I'm coming here and I want to, I don't want to be a drain. When I first came here, I was paying my taxes in the UK and obviously not using that system. So I decided to pay my stuff here, and be private here, so not to be a drain. That's me. That's my modus, and that's why I
And that's
use it. But yeah.
yeah, and that's me too as well. And like many of our foreign friends here as well do exactly the same thing. So yeah, it's very very it's good value. That's what I'm
So
saying. So
Alejandro,
it's
I mean, what about, do you find a lot of challenges? I mean, we obviously talk to a lot of clients, and some of them do have quite complicated medical histories. I'm sure you've come across a few that require, certain things. Is there anything that sort of is a massive flag of prohibitive, or is it just a case of everything gets assessed and it's just bumps up your premium, and if you've got, a more complicated case?
Yeah, usually before you issue the health medical insurance policy, we need to ask the client what kind of pathologies they had before or they have. The insurance companies either exclude covering that kind of medical cover, or they, like you said, pump up your premium. So it's basically trying to get quotes from all of them and trying to understand which ones will do the best price versus what they cover. So when the client comes to us and has a certain pathology, a certain health issue, um, we try to do this, which is uh, find different solutions and then advise the client on which one to take, and considering the two things: cover, what they cover, and what the price is. So that's pretty much it. Of course, in Portugal, in the Algarve specifically, where we all located, they're opening new hospitals, private hospitals, specifically because we have a lot of non-residents, which expats that live here, and they all have private health insurance, medical insurance, and we need more and more hospitals. So they just now open one at Vilamora, right? uh, which is where we are, and they're opening a couple more because of that. Uh, so
Okay.
so it's pretty much what we have: new hospitals.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's great to see. It just shows growth in the place, and as I say, limits the impact on the public sector. Although my understanding, when we actually had our children born in the private system, but they did say, look, if anything goes really wrong, then it needs major. They'll be taken to the main public hospital because they've got more of a specialist team. So I think it comes down to specialisms as well. If you've got quite a specific requirement. But then adding to that, my father-in-law had a heart operation. I think he had a stent change, and the team from Lisbon came. It wasn't an emergency one, so it was the team came down. They did about 50 patients in a week, and they brought all their equipment with them, and they did it there. So and that was again private. So things can happen as well, like in that. Well,
And I
moving
think
on.
we should really
Sorry,
talk
mate.
about medical in a separate podcast like this as well. So I mean, we're just touching on this in a very brief way, but we're definitely going to get into it in much greater detail in the future. So sorry, please carry on, Nick.
Cool. No, I was just going to say, just to keep I suppose the process moving, of moving here and insurances related stuff, and a lot of people want to buy a car. So obviously car insurance is sort of top on the agenda. Another one that you probably get a lot of comments on the price differentials between certainly North America and here. But I think I mean, again, it's probably a very standard thing. Going to get it comes down to the car mileage, etc. But I think one of the big points here, and please tell me if I'm wrong, but over here you insure by the car, not the person.
Okay, great question. Yeah, so you're from the UK. The rules are different there, so that's
Yeah.
why that's something you're pointing. Yeah, correct. So one thing that is good is when you do the car insurance. Of course, you insure the car, and your question is, what if someone else is driving? What if it's a cousin that just came and is driving and is on vacation? It's not a problem at all because the insurances in Portugal for cars cover the car and the passengers. Okay. Of course, they do ask who is the main driver that usually drives the car. They do ask. However, if it's someone else, they usually just ask why the person was driving the car, and we give the justification why that person was driving, and it's not a problem. Even in companies that have the company car and it's insured, even a client could be driving the car, so it's not a problem in Portugal.
Yeah.
And of course, when it comes to covers, you have a simple liability for third parties, and you have insurances that cover the full any kind of damage that can happen to the car. And once again, when it comes to pricing, and when it comes to pricing, and you compare it to other countries, it's pretty affordable.
Yeah, I mean, to put a real world spin on that one, when I got my car, the insurance we ended up getting was the highest one possible, and that was if we had an accident, they'd replace the car, new for it doesn't matter what age it was a brand new one of the model, and that was €750 for the year. So, just to put that in context, as an SUV, basically. So,
Yeah.
I probably went for the more expensive one, but that's because it was a brand new car, and I didn't want an old car if we had an accident rather than a new one. But that's just me. Um,
Important to say that you pay that per annum, per
yeah,
1
per
year.
annum, per annum. Um,
Yeah, so do you want to just throw out some average costs of that, like, any a range between 400 and 800, would you say, Alejandro?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Just like a few costs, just what's the word? Example
the
costs
spectrum,
of
yeah.
insurance for people with normal, medium-sized cars. Would they be generally paying between 400
Okay.
and 800 euros per year?
Okay, I now understand what you were asking. So I'm just doing now an insurance for a very nice Mercedes for a client of ours. That is it's an AMG, so it's a pretty good
Wow.
Mercedes, and is getting full cover at 500 euros. So
Wow.
fully the kind of
Wow.
insurance that Nick was talking about.
How old's the car?
So the car is from 2021.
You were done a kipper, Nick.
It sounds like it. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, that's more my problem. But just want to clarify what we were talking about. Insurance wise, and you insure the car, not the driver. We're talking about private vehicles, and not if you hire a car, it's down to the hire car company. So check with them before you don't assume that you can just suddenly drive cars in for a hire car. They'll have their own rules. Um, so again, I mean, just to touch on, what happens if you have an accident, and um, you normally have to fill out a form, right?
Yeah, I can talk by my own experience because I had an accident
Uh,
couple of months ago. I have a Tesla, and basically I aquaplaned when the first rains came in the highway near Faro. So I broke the whole car. I had an insurance policy at one specific insurance company that would cover the full amount if the car was totally wrecked and didn't have a way out of to repair. So basically, they gave me the whole money for what I bought the car for in 2020. Okay, so
And
it was a model.
did they need a police report, or did you not have to call the police?
I did not have to call the police, especially because Um, when they went to the place, they asked if the car recorded the crash. I said yes. It was in the pen. So I just gave them I have the images. I can send them to you afterwards. They just we filled in the report online, okay, online. Once they asked for a couple more documents from when we went to the hospital because we got an X-ray and so on. Everything was fine. Just my back hurt a bit
But
from that
obviously, not all
whiplash.
cars. Sorry to interrupt, but not obviously all cars don't record crashes. You know what I mean? So. What if the car wasn't recording the crash? Then you'd have to get police involved and etc. No?
Not needed. Well, the police was there. The police was there. But what happens is the report is given to the insurance company directly. So they go there and they pick it up.
Okay.
What happened was the insurance company where I had the insurance did go to the police to get the report because they were there. However, if it's not recorded, what the client needs to do is exactly the same. So fill in online the report saying they had a crash. The insurance company will go to the police to pick up the report, and from then on they take care of the rest. They go to the oficina where the car goes to get repaired.
Okay.
The
Mechanics.
the
Mechanics. Yeah,
mechanics.
mechanics.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They go directly to the mechanics to check how the car is and what really happened. And from then on, if they do not find anything that might look suspicious, they cover for. Even if it looks suspicious, they will cover because you had the full cover insurance. Okay?
Okay.
If it's something that involves a couple of 100,000, they might go to court to try and understand why that looked suspicious. But first, they will cover for what the policy covered. Okay, so they first pay for it and then they ask if something is suspicious, which was what happened in one of our clients. So something was not right for them, but they still covered for what the policy was covering, and then they went to court to try and get some back because they believed that was something
Suspicious.
criminal
Yeah.
about
Oh, okay.
the crash.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that happens one in a thousand.
Yeah.
It's something that is not often, it's not regular to happen.
Sadly, it happened to me. I was just joining a roundabout in Faro. And obviously, Faro is the place to do it. And someone just drove into the back of me. They thought I'd gone and entered the roundabout, but I hadn't. And they, it wasn't the biggest shunt. But the process. Obviously, we had the forms in the front of the car. The GNR weren't involved. There wasn't an enormous amount of damage, but the cars were still able to drive. So you had to fill out the forms, draw the pictures. You had to be quite specific on it. Obviously, the key thing there is take as many photos, right, and as videos, so you've got it. You shouldn't really move the cars from what I've been told. So leave them where they are, even if you're being beeped at, etc. But also just something to note, like if you do have that, make sure, you've got a vest and a triangle in the car. You need to put that out, obviously, from a safety perspective, but you might get in a bit of trouble if you haven't got those and the police do turn up. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's a big crash. You probably would call the police. Is it 112?
112,
112?
yeah, and just about the vest and things, like every single car is inspected every single year, and you have to have your collet or whatever what's it called, a vest, a
Your
green
collet,
vest, your collet, and then your red
a
triangle, the
triangle.
sort of reflecting triangle as well. So if you don't have that, you don't pass. So it should be that every single car on the roads in Portugal will have those. Should be.
So one
Yeah.
one of the interesting things I've learned since being here was the insurances. If you break down as well, if it's just not even an accident, if you break down the tow trucks or rubok, as they're called, if I pronounce that right, are brilliant. Like but I've not been able to start mine because the battery's gone or whatever, and maybe I don't know what it is, and the guys have picked it up within half an hour and away they go. Take it straight to the person, and it's all done by the insurance company. So it's really quite an easy Much easier than I ever thought it would be, in the UK, and having to pay
But
for
there
separate
is one
policies.
thing though. I know I was stuck up in Porto. My car just froze up completely, and so the insurance company promised to take my car down to the Algarve for free, which is great, which they did, and they gave us transport down to the Algarve. But that was it. The car was in the shop for 3 weeks, and we didn't get a courtesy car or anything like that. So I had to go and spend go and hire a car just to try and get around while it was in the. But they got us home, if that's clear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which which is strange because I mean I would imagine that you could obviously try and get insurance for a courtesy car. Have you heard of that, Alejandro?
Yes, you can get. It depends on the kind of policy you have. You may have a courtesy car, and it you can ask for it to be equivalent to your car,
Okay.
or you can have a policy that just states that you will have a courtesy car for X days and any car that is available.
Mhm.
Or you cannot, or some policies just say you will not have a courtesy car. So it's important when the a client asks for a quotation to be sure of this specification. So if something happens, do I get one? Is it one like mine? And for how long will I have it? Because
Yeah, good point.
sometimes the repairs can take some time. So
So, just in the interest of keeping this as tight as we can, it's obviously quite a wide topic, this one. But house, I suppose, and content. You know, house insurance, home insurance. Obviously, when you buy a house, you're going to want to take it out. But if you've got a mortgage, am I right in that obviously you have to as part of that? Do they force you to have to take out the policy of the bank that you're doing, or can you shop around?
you can shop around. It's
Is
by
that
law you can you
yeah?
don't you're not forced to do neither the life insurance or the house insurance with the bank when we're talking about a mortgage. By law, you can do it elsewhere.
But is that new,
Um,
or has that always been the case?
it's since 2009.
Okay.
Since
Because yeah, I
2009.
was I was victim of that before.
Dana Kipper
Yeah.
again, please,
Yeah,
mate.
absolutely. I'm
It's just
terrible. I mean, I still pay ridiculous, insurances for my places.
Okay, then we need to look at that.
Yeah,
I need to help you with that.
definitely.
Uh, so, yeah. But basically, having an house insurance in the Algarve is important. It's mandatory, and a thing that usually the banks want for it to cover is seismic phenomena. So, because we are in a seismic area, earthquakes may happen. So they want that specific cover in the house insurance, which is curious, and which usually pumps up by 30% the price.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, given we're water-based, would that apply to tsunamis as well?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is
is it
Yeah.
that, I
like
mean,
any crazy any force majeure or the act of God or whatever they call it? Is it what about wildfire as well? Does that all come under the same thing, or do you
Wildfire,
have to take
electric
out?
fire, earthquakes. Yeah, they call it acts of nature.
acts of nature?
Uh, so
Okay.
basically, it does. Okay, and of course, once again, when we talk about the price, some U.S. clients really look at it like, "Are you sure?" Because it's too cheap for it to cover
Yeah.
all of that, and I understand it doesn't within your reality doesn't make any sense. Within ours, it does. This
Yeah.
is affordable very affordable for you, and kind of affordable for a Portuguese.
Yeah.
So
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 in terms of the
basically,
house, in terms of the house insurance, in the case of, let's say, my wife and I buying a house, um, is it common phenomenon, because this happens with my insurance, that if I was to die or she was to die, the house would get paid off, the mortgage would get paid off? Is that quite a common feature of the house insurance, or that is the common feature of the house insurance as well?
it's not an house insurance; it's actually a life insurance. And
Okay,
when
so
the
it's a
loan to value,
separate policy.
it's a separate
Okay.
policy. And when the loan to value is usually higher than 70%, most banks will demand a life insurance. So if it's below 70%, the client is, let's say, it's putting 50% down payment, banks usually dismiss life for the clients to have life insurance connected to the mortgage unless they want to, but it's not mandatory. When it's more than 70% financing, the banks will usually demand life insurance to be taken
Okay.
for
Then
both applicants.
for both applicants. And then on the same line of life insurance, the again, sorry, just giving my life experiences here in Portugal, but I came to take out a mortgage, and they asked me for my health data, right? They asked me for height, weight, etc. And the guy said, "Oh, because of your BMI, you are." He didn't. He basically said you're being fat taxed. That's the only way you can. It's the only way you can put it. I was like, this is absolutely. I mean, he was trying to beat around the bush, and I was driving with my wife, and she almost fell out of the car when I said it. But it was true. He basically said your policy is X higher because you've got a BMI of X, and I was like, well, that's ridiculous because professional sportsmen and BMI they're clinically obese. It's a stupid metric, but just something and I had to submit blood pressure results. So they take that and
Was
use
that
that
was
again.
it
My experience,
because
or
of
was that
your?
a general? No, general. I think they were just asking for my health data. Is that your general experience, Alejandro, or is that just me?
Yeah,
You
because
targeted me.
life insurance doesn't only cover death; it covers permanent disability or partial disability. So they really do take their medical questions seriously.
Yeah.
For example, if you have an heart attack and that gives you a 60% disability for your job, for instance, and they have a formula to calculate that, then of course you will get your mortgage paid off and you're alive. So they do make medical questions to understand if the price, the premium will be higher or lower, considering the probability of something bad happening. So the risk, once again, okay. If I was submitted for surgery for taking out a tumor myself, let's say, they will ask a report from what happened next, what the exam said after 6 months, and if everything is okay at the moment, to consider if they should pump up the price or not. So
Okay,
Yeah.
so it can be
that
quite
is
invasive in a way, personally, data and it
But
has
I
to
think
be.
it's
But
pretty standard. I mean, they've got to check you out to see how healthy you are before you get insure you for how long they're going to
absolutely,
live. It makes sense.
it just shocked me when I did it, and I was like, okay, but there we
most
go.
Huh?
cases they don't ask for exams or medical
No.
exams or
Well, the silly thing
How
is they
about
ask for a blood pressure test in the pharmacy. It's like, well, anyone could go in and do that for you. But there we go. Now I
how
know.
about pet
exactly.
insurance? Nick, you mentioned pet insurance earlier before this call, and have you ever heard of that, Alejandro?
Of course, we do quite a lot of those
Okay.
because we have a special one in a specific insurance company. Usually, it's really good. It covers simple appointments, urgencies, even
So it's
medicine.
pet medical insurance, basically, huh? Like
It's
veterinary.
basically a pet medical insurance,
Uh,
and usually you can get that around 20 euros per month or something like that,
Okay.
or sometimes below, depending.
Per
So it's
per
really
four-legged
it's
friend.
really nice.
I was thinking you were talking about pet life insurance or something. So when my dog dies, I'll get compensated or something.
No,
Shame.
no. I'm talking about, there's, I mean, but the big difference that I've seen, obviously the UK is quite a massive industry on that side, and I think the same in the US, but what you'll see over there is the prices of surgeries are just, and care is just massive. Like, here. We actually midnight one night picked up a dog that had been hit by a car. We didn't see that it happened, but he was in a very bad way. We took him to the 24-hour vet hospital in Lule, and they assessed him, scanned him, and they sort of said, like, what do you want to, what do you want to do? And I said, well, what are the options? And they said, well, you can go to Lisbon to the hospital there. I was like, well, I mean, the whole spine had snapped. It was horrendous. But they said, it would probably be about €1,000 to do that surgery. Well, in the UK, that would be like 10 to 15. So I personally have never done, although I've got two dogs at the moment. I've never had pet insurance, not largely because the care prices aren't actually that high. But it's always something worth looking at as well.
Just in general, to like sort of start wrapping up a little bit, I just want to ask you, Alejandro, what is the craziest thing that you ever had insured? Because you hear these stories about athletes insuring their legs and things like that, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So,
Well, the craziest thing I had, clients being insured. Well, I've had clients insuring millions in jewelry, which I had to take picture by picture and explain in a report what kind of thing we were talking about. So that I consider crazy because it's really detailed, and I had some nice pieces in my hand of jewelry.
yeah.
But we didn't have, to be honest, we didn't have that kind of crazy things. You can, if I play piano and I'm really really good one, I can insure my hands. I can do pretty much everything I want as soon as the insurance company wants to cover for it. But the one that I considered that was the most detailed one, and that I saw that some pieces of jewelry that have some hundreds of years and were from a king from I don't know when. That kind of insurance we were able to do, and it's really fun because you need to look and you need to have witnesses, and you have to be with someone that is specialized in that, and you have to take pictures and you have to do a report of every single piece. So it's
Wow.
very
So,
very nice.
so generally, process-wise, in terms of, it's just get in touch, and get in touch with you guys, and you've obviously, you own the company, and therefore, it's not always you that does all the insurance stuff, so that you have a team obviously underneath you, but it's just an email to try and just ask the questions of what they want, and then you jump into the specifics. So, but NIF number is the key.
NIF number is the key. If we have a NIF number, then we can issue a policy. So
Okay.
we have like I said, it's 70 of us. We Part of the team are really specialized into insurances, and part of the team are really specialized in mortgages. Of course, when a client needs a specific insurance, I already know which team member to ask to do the quotations. Usually, we give 2 to 3 quotations based on what the client needs and price, and that is it. And that is it.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much, Alejandro. And then next time we want to chat to you about mortgages as well. But if you guys out there want to get in touch with Alejandro and everything, just drop a line to us. It's algarvealex.com/contact, and we'll leave a link in the description. Is there anything else that you want to
Thank
say,
you.
Nick?
Not at the moment. Just thank you for your time. For some it might be a dry topic, but I think it's absolutely vital when you're coming here. So
I
definitely
think we
get
made
in.
it quite fun, didn't we?
Well, I think so. I
Yeah.
think so.
It was. It was. We had a lot.
We had a lot and a lot of problems with
Thank
our
you.
cars. But anyway, cheers, Alejandro.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank,
Alejandro.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.